Haven't been here in years. Where's my woodwalker? Ooh, that's a... Oh, this is for that shit? Nah. If I use more XP, I'll do it.
So long. You...
Who's the innkeeper? Where's the innkeeper? You got beds?
You wish to speak?
No. Maybe he'll do it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, don't be a drama queen. What's this? What do you want me to do? I need something to listen to.
They're here.
They're here.
There was desperation and panic in the manager's voice as she blurted this out with a heavy breath. This matched the cashier's face.
Oh no, Kira. I need you to... Kira, please. Please, Kira. Please don't lay on my mouse or step on my keyboard. Okay, cool. That's... Yeah, so like where you're at right now actually makes it pretty hard for me to see. And I don't know all my key buttons yet. So, I love you though. I do love you. You're a fantastic cat. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually gonna take that back. I'm not sure you are the best. Because right now you're in my freaking way. You're looking at your hammock like you want to be up there, so let's that was a weird noise. Can we just go up there, please? You're so close. Almost. Come on. Thank you. Appreciate it. What's a soul swap? There. Awesome. Does that cost me a soul shard? No. Alright. Why am I killing him? I'm not ready away. Shit. Alright, I was listening to that. I forgot that I was.
Which changed from neutral and tired to dreadful and painfully awake. Another employee who was waiting behind the counter quickly got up and walked to somewhere in the back of the store. For context, it was a little past 9:30 at night. It'd been a busy day for me. I had a test and multiple quizzes in my various classes, and I'd just gotten done with a hard gym session before returning to my apartment to
Why
find
can't
that
I
I
pick
was
those
fresh
up?
out of milk. I decided to run down to the convenience store located right under my apartment building. I knew they closed at 10, so I had plenty of time to pick up milk and browse their snacks. After finding nothing else of interest, I took the jug of milk to the counter to check out. Me being the only customer in the store at this point, the only other being 3 employees. Who were they? Maybe some sort of cleaning or maintenance crew for the store? But it wasn't closed yet.
Why don't I get that for armor?
The manager stepped right in front of me. "We can't let you leave right now," she said. "It's not safe. You're just gonna have to wait with us for them to pass through."
Huh?
Who are they? I asked. Why the hell was she blocking me from leaving? I would have imagined the store employees would want me to get out of the store now that closing time was coming up. The manager thought about my question for a moment before shaking her head and sighing, like she was too stressed to give me an explanation at the moment. She turned around to pull down the metal blinds along the storefront, ignoring my question. As I said, they weren't supposed to close quite yet. It wasn't time. I decided I wasn't sticking around for whatever game they were playing. I walked to the door, but I stopped myself before going outside. On the other side of the door was a man dressed in an old, yet expensive and fancy-looking suit with a big top hat. It looked as if a stock trader from the 1920s was ripped through space and time and placed on the other side of the glass. Only seconds passed before I heard a disembodied scream come from behind me. I looked back to the cashier with her hands over her mouth, looking at me with tears rolling down her face. The manager returned to the front of the store. When she saw me standing in front of the door and the man on the other side, she directed a loud and firm command at me. "Get away from the door. Now." I did as she said, walking back to her, but before I could ask or say anything, she squawked another command. "Go hide behind an aisle. Wait for me to tell you to come out. If you don't do as I tell you, you're going to die tonight. Now go." I had a mix of emotions and thoughts, but something told me that listening to her was my best bet. Still, I hadn't thought of a reason right then as to why my or anyone else's lives would be in danger. Maybe this man was a frequent problem for the store and harassed employees or what have you. Anyway, I did as I was told. I set the milk on the checkout counter and I went to hide between some aisles in the corner of the store. I just stood there for a moment, feeling awkward and a little afraid of whatever was going on. I took out my phone, but it wouldn't turn on. I could have sworn it wasn't dead when I left my apartment. Unfortunate. I guess I just had to sit it out for now. I heard the manager talking to the cashier,
What? What's going on?
who seemed quite afraid of the man, or whatever was going on. About 2 minutes later, I heard the automatic doors open, and someone walked in. The echoing footsteps heard on the side as they approached the counter.
That's it? You just gave me 3 soul shard?
And silence filled the store once again. But only for a few seconds. A man with a friendly tone broke the silence. "Good evening." Hello? The cashier responded. "Would you be so kind as to
I like
point
that
me
voice.
in the direction of your store's meats?" I tiptoed to the edge of the aisle and looked towards the counter. The man I saw outside was now standing in front of the cashier. He stood with perfect posture. He was much taller than I expected. He must have been around 6'5" or 6'6", and his stature towered even higher over the short cashier with his tall top hat. The cashier replied to him very timidly. We have some packages of lunch meat. Turkey, ham. They're in that section. Right over there, you see. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. The man in the suit interrupted. I do not believe we are talking about the same thing. I was told there would be a fair stock of freshly harvested meats available for purchase.
No, what do you want me to do with it?
I don't know what you mean, sir. Oh, I think you do.
What?
The man
What
didn't
is
move.
this voice you're doing?
He stayed standing in front of the counter.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
Staring the silent cashier down. She looked down in despair. I could hear her breathing and whimpers as the man remained. It was as if he were programmed like an NPC character in a game, waiting for input before he could deliver another line of dialogue or make any move. I saw the manager walk up from behind. She must have been waiting in the back of the store. Standing behind the man, albeit a good distance away, she addressed him herself. "How can we help you, sir?" she said, rather calmly. The man slowly turned around. He was, to put it bluntly, extraordinarily handsome and well-kept. Clean-shaven, with no bags under his eyes, no blemishes or imperfections in his skin, and pearly white teeth that glared from across the room as his eyes met the manager. "Oh, good evening. I was told that there would be a fair stock of freshly harvested meat available for purchase." He repeated to the manager while still sporting his gentle smile. The manager took a deep breath before she looked back up, making eye contact and saying,
Oh.
"Sir, unfortunately, we have run out of fresh meat. If you come back again, we will have a fresh shipment available for purchase, but we do not have any at the moment. Thank you for shopping with us." The man's smile faded
Lost.
as he stared down at the manager for what must have been a good half-minute. The complete absence of even the slightest movement made him look more like a statue than a person.
What do you want me to do now? What do you want me to do?
The trance he was in, and his smile returned. I understand. I will return. I wish you ladies a wonderful night. And with that, he calmly walked out the automatic doors, leaving the store. The cashier behind the counter broke down in tears. The manager walked behind the counter, put an arm around her, and escorted her to the back of the store. I followed. The manager got to the opposite back corner of the store I'd been hiding and opened some sort of janitor closet. Inside was the third employee whom I saw retreat earlier.
What's up?
He was on a phone,
Be careful
not a
out
cell
Oh,
there.
like
phone,
the Great
some sort
Gambino.
of wireless home phone that I assumed to be the phone for the store. Were you able to get in touch with them? She asked. They're still trying to figure out how to get here. He said, might take them a while. Can you hold it down by yourself out there? The manager nodded her head as she led out into the side, closing the door and turning around to me. We might be here for a while, she said. I need one of my employees on the phone so we can get help, and the other seems to be incapable of helping. So I need you to do as I say so we can all survive this. You don't have a choice. If you try to leave, or if you mess up, if you don't do exactly as I say, we're all gonna die. Do you understand? Yeah, I understand, I replied. Though I was far from assured in my ability, and even more so
What do I do
that
here?
none of this was real, I still had no clue what
Oh,
was
I have to
going
click
on
it. Okay.
and who they
What was that
were.
noise?
Either or whomever the employee was. walked behind the counter, next to the first register. I thought about running, about booking it out of the door, getting back to my apartment where I wouldn't have to deal with this circus of a prank they were running. But I didn't have time to make a plan to run. The automatic doors opened again, and I heard quieter, yet frantic footsteps enter. I looked at the manager, and she waved her hand and silently mouthed what I assumed to be "hide" before ducking under the counter herself. I shuffled back to my spot behind the aisles. There was the sickly sound of heavy breathing, like that of an old asthmatic man. They ran from the entrance to the counter. They stopped for a moment, but the breathing was incessant. It began running again. It seemed to get close, then far, then closer, then far, and closer again. I quickly put the pieces together, realizing it was moving up and down the aisles, sweeping all of them in order, and it would eventually run down mine. I panicked for a few seconds, trying to piece together an idea of how not to be spotted. I hoped that whoever it was wasn't perceptive enough to notice me move over an aisle. When it got to the aisle before mine, I waited for it to walk a distance down, away from me. I turned around the edge of my aisle, and I took a peek around the corner. I finally saw it. It wasn't a person. It stood about 4 or 5 feet above the ground. It was completely naked and had pale white skin. Too white to be even its back was massively hunched.
Well, I'm trying
its
to.
spine protruding so far, it looked as if it would tear through the flesh any moment. The legs were thin and small.
Probably over there.
They didn't look like they could support the weight of the creature they carried. The feet and toes were like that of a lizard. When it turned the corner, I could see its short arms with human hands that were far too large, with dirty, long black nails. Its chest was defined by tight skin over a large rib cage, and the rest of its torso looked tightly wrapped to its skeleton, as if it was starving to death. The face was the worst. Its jaw was much longer
I gotta do
person,
oh,
and
fuck.
it came to a point at the bottom, looking almost cartoonish. Its mouth was left big, leaving its teeth and gums exposed. The teeth looked like they were made perfectly and couldn't have any blemishes, but they were very long, too long. The gums were black.
I'm tired.
They seemed to be rotting away. The nose and eyes were like that of a man, but the whites were some sort of shade of green, like it had an illness. It had only a few strands of wiry, white hair. I moved as quietly as I could to the next aisle. When the creature had finally finished searching the whole store, it made its way out of the aisles and through the automatic doors, incessantly breathing all the way, like it was about to drop dead any minute. Only seconds later, the doors opened again. The manager yelled for me to come to the front. I got out from behind my aisle and walked up, cautiously, eyeing the door to see who was about to come through. But it just seemed to stay open. "Get behind the counter," she said. "Do not say anything. Smile when they smile." Smile when who? Shh, she interrupted. A child ran through the door. A child, I thought? Out in the city? At this hour?
What are we doing?
Why? Where were its parents? 6 more followed. They all seemed very young. Around 5 or 6 would be my guess. They started running all over the store, between the aisles and around the front. I think they were playing some sort of game like tag or hide and seek, laughing and acting as you would expect kids this age to act. Just let them be and do as I said, the manager began. When they smile, you smile back. They kept on playing for 5 minutes or so
Greetings.
before they collectively stopped running around and came to the front. They quickly formed a single file line in front of the tower.
I'm too tired.